I'm 82 years old, and if there's one thing these gray walls have taught me, it's that regret doesn't scream. It whispers. It sits in the corner of your cell every night, waiting for the lights to go out so it can remind you of the man you were supposed to be. I've been in here 47 years. I walked through these gates when the world was still analog, carrying a heart full of stones and a head full of bad ideas. Back then, I thought I was a lion. I thought the world owed me something, and I was going to take it with a lead pipe and a sneer. Now I'm just a collection of old scars and stiff joints, shuffling to the mess hall like a ghost that forgot to leave. You think you know what tough is. When I was 35, I thought being tough meant never backing down, even when you were wrong. I remember a winter in '84. It was the coldest this block ever got. There was a guy, Big Sal, who thought he could take my spot at the table. We ended up in the laundry room, teeth baring, hands wrapped in rags to keep the blades from slipping. I won that fight. I left him bleeding on the concrete while the steam from the dryers filled the air. I walked back to my cell feeling like a king. But you know what that victory got me? 2 years in solitary, staring at a steel door until I forgot what my own voice sounded like. I didn't gain respect. I just lost 2 more years of the sun. Every scar on my knuckles is a day I'll never get back. Every tooth I lost in a yard scrap is a memory of a life I traded for nothing. I wasn't always 402 Sanson. Once, I was just Elias. I had a younger brother, Danny. He was 10 years younger than me, with eyes that looked at me like I was some kind of god. That's the weight that breaks me now. I didn't just ruin my life, I paved the road to hell for him. He wanted to be like his big brother. He wanted the fast cars and the easy money I talked about during those short visits. One night in '78, we hit a liquor store on the edge of town. It was supposed to be simple, but Danny's hands were shaking, and the owner had a heart condition. Danny didn't pull the trigger, but the man dropped dead all the same. I got life. Danny got 20 years. He died in a different prison 300 miles away before he even hit 40. I led him into the dark, and I left him there. That's the legacy I built. Not a name on the streets, but a name on a cheap wooden cross in a state graveyard. You look at your life and you think you have time. You think you can be a bastard today and a saint tomorrow. But time in here is different. It's a thief. I spent the first 20 years planning my comeback. I'd sit on my bunk and imagine the look on everyone's face when I walked out. I imagined the suits I'd buy, the respect I'd reclaim. But the world outside didn't wait for me. It moved on. My mother's letters used to come every Monday. Then they became once a month. Then they became postcards from a nursing home I didn't recognize. The day the letters stopped, I realized the world I wanted to return to was gone. I was a king of a kingdom that had turned to dust. I remember looking in the mirror about 10 years ago. It was the first time I really saw the old man. I was looking for the guy who ran the east side, the guy people used to move aside for in the yard. He wasn't there. There was just this wrinkled stranger with yellow eyes and a trembling chin. I realized then that I had spent 40 years defending a reputation that didn't exist anymore. Nobody in this prison remembered Big Sal or the laundry room fight. The young kids, the 20-year-olds with their tattoos and their loud mouths, they just saw a grandpa they could push past in the line. That's the ultimate joke of this place. You spend your whole life trying to be a somebody, and you end up being a nobody with a longer sentence. The violence in here, it's not like the movies. It's quiet and it's ugly. It's the sound of a tray hitting the floor and the sudden wet thud of a body falling. I've seen men lose their minds over a pack of cigarettes. I've seen friends turn on each other for an extra minute on the phone. And for what? To prove you're still a man? When you're 82, you realize that a man is someone who stays home. A man is someone who holds his kid's hand when they're scared. A man is someone who works a job he hates just to put shoes on his brother's feet. I wasn't a man. I was a coward with a loud voice and a fragile ego. My lungs feel heavy today. Every breath feels like I'm inhaling the dust of the last 4 decades. The doctor says my heart is tired, and I can't blame it. It's been carrying the weight of Danny's death and my mother's silence for a long time. I sit in the yard sometimes and just watch the birds fly over the fence. They don't have to prove anything to anyone. They just exist. I'd give every tough guy moment, every dollar I ever stole, and every fight I ever won just to be one of those birds for 5 minutes, just to feel the wind without seeing it through a chain link fence. You think you're different. You think your pride is worth the cost. But look at me. I'm the end of that road. I'm the result of 1,000 small choices that all led to the same cold cell. I have no one to call. I have no one to mourn me when I'm gone. I am a warning written in blood and concrete. The life you're wasting out there? It's the dream I've been dying for every day for 47 years. Don't wait until your hair is white and your heart is hollow to realize that the only thing that matters is the people you love. Everything else is just noise, and in here, the noise eventually fades into a silence that you can never, ever escape. I remember the night I heard about Danny. It was 1992, a Tuesday, and the rain was drumming against the high, narrow windows of the cell block like 1,000 small hammers. A chaplain I'd never seen before came to my bars. He didn't say much at first. He just looked at me with this pity that felt like a gut punch. He told me Danny had been stabbed in a cafeteria scuffle over something as small as a seat at a table. My little brother, the boy who used to follow me into the woods to catch fireflies, had bled out on a dirty linoleum floor while guards shouted for everyone to get down. I didn't scream. I didn't throw my bed. I just sat there. I sat for 3 days without moving, watching the dust settle on my shoes. That was the moment I realized that my toughness hadn't protected anyone. It had just built a graveyard for everyone I loved. In here, you learn that the worst kind of violence isn't the kind that leaves a bruise. It's the kind that strips away your dignity piece by piece. I remember a shakedown in '05. I was already an old man then, at least by prison standards. They dragged us out into the hall in the middle of the night, stripped us down, and made us stand on the cold concrete while they tore our cells apart. I watched a young guard, a kid who wasn't even born when I was sentenced, toss a hand-drawn map of my old neighborhood into the trash. It was the only thing I had left that proved I came from somewhere. I wanted to fight him. I wanted to wrap my old fingers around his throat, but then I looked at his eyes and saw nothing. To him, I wasn't a man with a history. I was just 4217, an old piece of furniture that had been sitting in this room for too long. I stayed silent. I let him throw my past in the garbage. That's what 40 years does to you. It teaches you that your pride is a luxury you can no longer afford. The younger guys, they come in now with this swagger that makes my stomach turn. They think they're in a movie. They talk about respect and loyalty, like those things exist in a place where everyone is just trying to survive another day. A few years ago, a kid named Leo tried to recruit me for some internal war they were having. He told me I was a legend, that he'd heard stories about the laundry room fight. I looked at him. He had the same spark in his eyes I had in '78, and I felt a deep, cold shiver. I told him, "Leo, the only thing being a legend in here gets you is a front row seat to your own funeral." He laughed and called me a coward. 2 weeks later, he was carried out in a black bag. I sat on my bunk and realized that the stories they tell about us are just ghost stories meant to lure the next generation into the dark. We aren't heroes. We're warnings. My health is a slow, steady betrayal now. My heart skips beats like it's trying to find the exit. I wake up some mornings and can't feel my left hand. The doctors here, they don't look for a cure. They just look for a way to keep you upright until the state doesn't have to pay for you anymore. It's a strange thing, aging in a place where time is supposed to stand still. I look at my skin and it looks like parchment paper. I think about all the things these hands could have built. I could have been a carpenter. I could have held my mother's hand while she passed. I could have taught Danny how to drive a car instead of how to hide a weapon. Instead, these hands spent 47 years holding a plastic tray and gripping a cold bar. I've had a lot of time to think about forgiveness. People think it's something you do for the other person, but it's not. It's something you do to stop the fire from burning your own house down. I spent 30 years hating the man who testified against me. I used to kill him 1,000 times in my head every night. Then one day, I realized he was probably at home, playing with his grandkids, while I was sitting in a box rotting away from the inside out. My hate wasn't hurting him. It was only keeping me locked in that courtroom forever. I let it go. Not because he deserved it, but because I deserved to have a few years of peace before I died. If you're holding on to a grudge out there, let me tell you something. That person isn't carrying the weight. You are, and that weight will pull you under faster than any ocean. There's a small patch of sky I can see from the yard. It's about the size of a postage stamp. I've spent more time looking at that blue square than I have looking at the faces of my own family. Sometimes a plane flies over, a tiny silver speck leaving a white trail. I imagine the people on that plane. They're complaining about the food or the legroom or the person sitting next to them. They have no idea that right below them, there's a man who would give his last drop of blood just to sit in that cramped seat for 10 minutes, to be going somewhere, to have a destination. I don't have a destination. My journey ended 47 years ago when that judge hit the gavel. Everything since then has just been waiting for the credits to roll. I'm 82 years old and I'm finally tired of being Elias. I'm tired of the memories, tired of the guilt, and tired of these walls that have seen every tear I've shed in the dark. I don't know if there's anything after this, but I hope it's quiet. I hope there are no bars and no numbers. I hope I can find Danny and tell him I'm sorry. But for you, whoever is listening to this, you still have the sun. You still have the ability to walk to the end of the block just because you feel like it. You have people whose names you can call and they'll answer. Don't trade that for a moment of ego. Don't trade it for respect from people who won't even remember your name a week after you're gone. Look at your life. Really look at it. It's a miracle, and you're treating it like a burden. I'd give my soul to have your boring life. I'd give anything to be the person who has to worry about bills and traffic and a boss who yells, because at least that person is alive. Don't wait until the lights are dimming to realize you spent the whole show looking at the floor. Don't repeat my mistakes. Don't waste yours. You think you're different. You think your pride is worth the cost. But look at me. I'm the end of that road. I'm the result of 1,000 small choices that all led to the same cold cell. I have no one to call. I have no one to mourn me when I'm gone. I am a warning written in blood and concrete. The life you're wasting out there? It's the dream I've been dying for every day for 47 years. Don't wait until your hair is white and your heart is hollow to realize that the only thing that matters is the people you love. Everything else is just noise. And in here, the noise eventually fades into a silence that you can never, ever escape. I walked back to my cell feeling like a king. But you know what that victory got me? 2 years in solitary, staring at a steel door until I forgot what my own voice sounded like. I didn't gain respect, I just lost 2 more years of the sun. Every scar on my knuckles is a day I'll never get back. Every tooth I lost in a yard scrap is a memory of a life I traded for nothing. I wasn't always 42-7. I walked back to my cell feeling like a king. But you know what that victory got me? 2 years in solitary, staring at a steel door until I forgot what my own voice sounded like. I didn't gain respect, I just lost 2 more years of the sun. Every scar on my knuckles is a day I'll never get back. I walked back to my cell feeling like a king. But you know what that victory got me? 2 years in solitary, staring at a steel door until I forgot what my own voice sounded like. I didn't gain respect, I just lost 2 more years of the sun.